Alrighty guys, I haven't done one of these in a little bit, but I'm going to try and do one of my 5v5 breakdowns. Not really a cast because I played in this game, I know what happens. Not really a analysis video because it is biased by the fact that I was here playing it, but I will attempt to do somewhat of an autopsy of the game to try and figure out why what happened, what win conditions people were playing to, what the thought process of various team fights was. So the first thing to note is that Purple Side has got a very tanky team. With Jarvan, Cho'Gath in the mid lane, Mundo and Braum as like their beefy core. Gray's probably the tankiest AD carry, the toughest, grittiest one. I mean, he's true grit in that sense. They just want to probably deathball us and force their way through. So we responded by picking rather late in the draft this Janna pick to try and push them away, reset the fight, and then keep the fight going. But certainly it's going to be something that a low-range AD carry like Lucian is probably going to struggle against. He might be able to make up for it with his mobility. Darius, of course, wants to get in there. We think Darius is probably a good idea because their tankiness is a trade-off in some ways for burst damage or high damage. So hopefully Darius can survive for a while inside their team. However, if Jarvan gets ahead and starts building a lot of AD, Cho'Gath and AP Cho'Gath certainly, while tanky, can burst one person very heavily, so life might be tough for this Darius. I picked Jax because I like him at the moment. I think he's got a couple good build paths with the super carry Jax, where you get Triforce or Devourer and Bork and crazy damage stuff, or a more tanky CDR build to just be a stun bot, which is how I like to play Jax. So right out the gate we see normal matchups, nothing crazy, nothing odd. One thing we will notice though is that Mundo here gets to lane late, missing a little bit of health, and is not level 2. This means that Mundo, like, if Mundo's late to lane, it could mean either one of two things. One, he's helping his jungler with a buff, or he's soloing a jungle camp and then will TP to lane. This Mundo has TP, didn't use it, is level 1, so he clearly did not clear a jungle camp. So this means that Jarvan is topside. Jarvan and champions like him who spike very hard at level 2, you have to watch out for their early ganks, especially when you're on blue side. They can do red, do a camp, come into gank instantly, and that's what happens here. There's very little Darius can do about this. He's got red buff. If he tries to escape like this, burn the flash, he didn't even need to burn that flash. J4 would have picked it up with his EQ anyway. With champions like J4, Lee Sin, or maybe even to some extent Jax, where they have a gap close and CC, preferably those two, at level 2. You have to worry about that kind of cheese, particularly when they start red side, because of the ganking opportunity red buff opens up for them. J4 is staying top a bit to try and get some cheese into Darius, but he is spotted and backs out. I tried to do something similar onto Cho'Gath to try and burn a summoner, because Jax is one of those champions who can do that, but with an early ward here by Cho'Gath, he is totally safe. This is something you want to do as a mid laner on red side against junglers like Jax. Just put a ward here at around the 2-minute mark, and there's no kind of cheese that can happen. Similarly, from blue side against junglers like Jarvan, probably just put a ward here, or here even, to watch for that 2-minute cheese. If you don't see it, I think you can safely assume that if they started topside, as Mundo telegraphed, they are now at blue. So when Mundo arrives late to that lane, as top laner, you ward instantly because you know his jungler is topside at that point in time. For the next minute, you're safe from ganks. After that minute, they have transitioned to the bot side and have started taking blue and, you know, having presence in the mid and bot lanes. If Mundo comes to lane on time and bot lane is slightly late, then you know he's blue side and you can ward top lane a bit later. Bottom lane starting out in lane ahead of our team, and Mundo being late shows where Jarvan started, and we should have responded but did not, and ultimately we lose first blood because of that. As a result, you now see a 10 CS lead for Dr. Mundo. This is something that perhaps Darius can outduel, but the sustain of Dr. Mundo, once he hits 6 especially, is going to make it hard for Darius to poke him down in lane. It will mean that in a scrap between these two, Mundo's is almost a detriment because it puts him in range of being dunked by Darius because he loses health. But as far as lane dominance and sustain goes, Mundo being ahead in XP is great. Hold on, actually, I am totally a fool. That is a lead for Darius. So I'm not sure quite how this is happening, but our top lane Darius is actually managing to stay ahead of this Mundo. Don't know how that happened. I actually do not. Here we see Graves take out our Lucian, very close fight. This almost went our way, but did not. And I believe John is also going to fall here. Braum should definitely be slapping on autos and trying to get the passive up. It works out anyway. Jonna goes for the kill on Graves and does not get it. So now, fortunately, these both go onto Braum, not onto Graves. So Graves is not 2 kills up, but certainly he is ahead in this lane because he's even on CS and has 2 assists to Lucian's death. He's likely also going to be ahead in XP. You can see Lucian level 3, Graves level 4. You see Jarvan coming back for a gank top, this time with blue buff, not red. I don't believe they're able to pick him up because of the healing Darius has. Pulls him into tower, able to get some damage down, but not able to pick up the kill because he does not have level 6 yet. He's only level 5, no ultimate there. So what I do here is I come down and I push this lane. I push this lane all the way into the tower. Normally I wouldn't recommend doing this, but the reason I did was because Graves is dramatically ahead in lane, not just on XP, but also in items. He's got the Warhammer, whereas Lucian only has boots and longsword. Boots aren't going to help him too much. I'm going to pause this for a second. Aren't going to help him too much because he's relatively equal range to Graves. It might help him survive a gank or dodge out some of Braum's damage, or perhaps even Graves. But for the most part, the boots aren't going to factor in too heavily into any kind of trading that goes down. It is going to be this Warhammer here that means Graves ahead. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Braum was still here when I got to lane. He did back once he saw that I was just going to push it in, because if I had left here, then Braum would have frozen the lane here, because Janna certainly does not have kill pressure on Braum when she isn't there, but even if she was there, she probably couldn't kill that Braum. He could be free to take a lot of damage from these minions and freeze it here. The reason why that's a problem is because even though Graves, his auto attacks are AoE, his abilities are AoE, he'd probably push this lane, but for a substantial amount of time, he would have this lane frozen here. And with this disparity in combat effectiveness, Lucian can't roll up to this wave to try and CS it for fear of being killed by Graves Braum. So in order to prevent the wave being frozen here, not indefinitely, but for a sizable chunk of time, I felt like I had to push it in and make some of these die to tower before it could be frozen. Once Braum saw me stick around and start clearing, he realized he couldn't freeze, so he backed. But that was the thought process there. And not only do I get to pick up some CS for myself, as you see, I'm 14 above Jarvan, I also picked up some XP. I'm actually ahead of Jarvan in levels, and the XP here wasn't wasted in some die to tower. And that was, that was the reason I did that, although it does make things slightly harder for Lucian. Brand dies here to a Jarvan gank, like well ganked. That's a difficult kind of thing for Brand to escape with the silence and the knock up, and he's not a very mobile champion, so Jarvan Cho'Gath can get him if he's not playing defensively. So because there were so many minions, though, it is kind of a freeze here for Graves. But honestly, I think this is less bad than it would have been if I had not pushed this in. I may be wrong about that because I don't play bot lane a lot, so I don't know a lot about how in a two-person lane freezing operates. But I do think I made the right choice there. I do think Lucian goes down here. He does. That is another kill picked up for the red team bottom lane. They're getting substantially ahead. You see almost a 2,000 gold lead. Let's try and figure out where that is. In the top lane, 300, mostly just because of the kill Mundo has. Farm is relatively even. Will Johnny go down here? No, she will not. She will be safe. In the jungle, relatively even. He's gotten kills and assists, but I have a lot more farm, so we're actually even here. Mid lane, even as well. The big discrepancy is in the bot lane. That's an 800 gold lead for Graves and a 600 gold lead for Janna. Certainly they are right now the rocks of red team. However, mid lane is starting to get ahead for red team in XP, not necessarily in gold, because of the kills they managed to pick up on some of my teammates, putting them behind in XP. Because all the time you spend dying is time you're not spending picking up experience, which even if you're even on CS with the opponent is something you will probably lack. For the time being, just farming is happening. Nothing crazy. Farming in the mid lane. Harass, poke. Jarvan is coming up here for a gank onto Darius in the top lane. Darius is pushed up a bit. This is not something you want to do if you're Jarvan. Now, this ward does see him, but this ward is late when you're playing this aggressively. Darius may be able to pick up this Mundo, but with the ult pop, that seems unlikely. Just being kited around by Mundo's cleavers, and Jarvan, I think, does have the damage to take him out. He before picking up his Jungle Smite, has picked up the Warhammer. So certainly CDR and AD present for Jarvan, where if I had started to go a tankier build with the Bombi Cinder and Tracker Stuff, more supportive, more of a stun bot. Against a tanky CC heavy team like this, there's a lot of disruption there and a lot of chase. I didn't think as the split push, auto attack reliant damage Jax build that I would really have the chance to stick on someone for a while and keep hitting them. I figured that my teammates are pretty high in damage as champions, and that I'd probably be better served serving as a front line, serving as a CC bot, because if I didn't do that, I didn't really think we would have much of it. Darius was forced to go Executioner's Calling against Mundo to prevent him from absolutely dumpstering the lane. As you can see, that early lead by Darius has been taken up by Mundo and will probably accelerate into the mid-game. Now what this means, though, is that Darius, for his tank items are delayed, so for an amount of time he will not be able to be that tanky surviving front line to allow our damage to stay safe. So I felt like as Jax I would have to augment that. You do see Lucian almost pick up Rom on the dive, but they do manage to get out. Well played by Lucian. However, he burns his heal for that for Red Team's heal, actually. So that was a good trade of summoners. You have Janna knocking back the Graves. I think this might be a dead Lucian. It's not, but certainly he can't aggress. All this damage onto... Oh my gosh. Okay, so he strays a little close, looking for that Braum. Gets picked up by the Graves. I'm not sure if it was a crit, but it was certainly an unexpected amount of damage compared to what Lucian expected. We do see Lucian and Graves are relatively equal on items, but that is a 2-level lead for the enemy Graves. Level 7 to our Lucian's level 5. Burning Janna's flash was good. Now we have Darius coming down for a gank onto the bot lane. They do manage to pick up Janna, and I think that's, okay, not an execute, but it is just a shutdown onto the Janna, which isn't really the target we want. Braum goes back a bit here, and I think that might be his doom as Darius flashes forward to get the CC. He flashes over the wall, and I think goes to safety. Jarvan is there to back him up, and I don't see anyone killing this Braum anytime soon. He is safe. Knowing Darius is here, coming up to gank this Cho'Gath, I see Mundo here, and I don't want him to get, you know, absolute dominance onto our tower. So I come here, I start taxing this wave, well, not taxing it, but picking up the wave to prevent the damage going onto our tower and to prevent Mundo from just being able to be uncontested here. Although he is functionally uncontested because I just have a Bounty Cinder and an upgraded Smite. I don't really have the tools to fight Mundo at this point in time. I'm just being there and preventing him from, you know, taking this all for free. We do have Darius now returning from his roam. We will likely be able to pick up this Mundo. Yeah, so I go in. A lot of these minions are here, so we are taking more minion damage, clearly, than he is. He ults. I think with Darius' ultimate, though, we will be able to pick him up. I do pick up the kill. The Darius ult wasn't just enough. But I'm able to pick up a whole lot of CS. I think I'm probably... Okay, so I'm 500 ahead of Jarvan, even though he's 201, and I'm 1-0 just because I'm doubling his CS. And at the 10-minute mark, that's a pretty good sign. Even though our lanes are behind, and I certainly haven't been having as much of an impact as this Jarvan has, because Jarvan is, you know, very strong at this point in the game, and Jax isn't so much. I'm still able to keep into the game, which is it's a good sign. It's a good sign for us, because it means I can do what I want to do in the mid and late game, and what I want to do is protect my team, and I think that's good for everyone involved. However, I can't protect my team against the amount of damage that a Graves can put down, and with all 4 members coming here, this is a very, very dead Janna for our bot lane, and I think it's going to be our tower as well. I don't see any way that we can stop these 4 people. In response to that, we do have Darius pushing up into the top lane, which is good. We do get a tower in response, which I think is a benefit to us. We don't invest as much as Red Team does in order to pick up this tower, so they invest 4 people worth of resources here. We can keep pressure in the mid lane. I had just backed, and Janna had just died. Lucian was forced out of lane as well. So we only have 1 extra person on the map, but luckily that 1 extra person is able to come up here and put a significant amount of damage onto this turret. He's likely going to be able to pick it up for us, and that's very good. They do, off the back of that, pick up the dragon, which is excellent to get that 5 dragon ball rolling, and then start moving up here. For their team, 3rd dragon is very big. I'm out of my depth, I flash out. I don't know what I think I am getting done there, but I certainly have to get out. But 3rd dragon is very important for a team like that. They are lower on mobility than many teams are. Not necessarily than ours, because we have a very immobile top lane and mid lane. So I think 3rd dragon is really essential, because it's the buff that gives the move speed, of course, which is going to be big for either team. This is something they're working towards off the back of their dive and tower take bot lane, which is not something we've been able to answer thus far. So they still have almost a 2k gold lead, 3-10. Often I find my games with these guys go similarly to this. I don't think we're very good. I don't think we're particularly good during the laning phase, but I do think we team fight rather well. So right now we're just hoping we can scale into that part of the game, and that when we enter that part of the game that things can go well. We do see the brand ultimate be devoured by Braum here, which is tilt-worthy. He was not happy about this, and the Braum brand interaction is going to really be a pain in the butt for us later and later into the game. I don't get in range for my Q. I keep going forward. I don't know why I'm doing this. I get stunned out. I die. Jarvan was here zoning off our brands and Janna, preventing them from helping me out. He flashes out, but it's enough to pick me up and enough to make sure that happens for their team. So with a kill picked up onto me by the Cho'Gath, he started to get rather, not necessarily unmanageable, but he's getting bigger. Graves down here is a big pain for Lucian. Cho'Gath getting his Rod of Ages early is pretty important for red team. Cho'Gath can become an unexpectedly tanky source of damage with that Rod of Ages and with his V stacks quicker than a lot of people expect. And I checked out this guy. He plays a lot of Cho'Gath. He's level 5 master on him. He certainly knows what he's doing, and he feels comfortable playing it and is playing it rather well. We do have down here Graves 1v2ing John and Lucian, and not picking up a kill, but certainly showing that he can apply pressure without needing Braum there. These guys are moving up on the mid lane, trying to put pressure there. I am there to respond. I can prevent them from taking the tower and get a little CS for myself, and mostly just stop them from taking the tower. But that's pretty much all I can do. I have to leave. I certainly can't overextend with no one around. So I just come up here, taking Scuttle, which is one of the most important things I think you can do if you're behind, just to keep tabs on movement in this area in general, because the more information you can get when you're behind is important, because information becomes more important as you're behind the map. Knowing where not to be is one of the most important things, I think, from preventing the enemy team from completing the snowball and finishing the game, because red team is snowballing on us, and we just are trying to give up as little as we can while we get back into this game. And to that end, getting information is important, and Scuttle is just free information. You do have Darius almost finishing up his Black Cleaver. When he does, he's going to become a lot more of a threat than he is right now. He can fight Mundo alone, but because of Graves' strength in the bot lane, Braum has free roam here. So I come up here, I do manage to save Darius. I'm just trying to body block and prevent these cleavers from picking them up. We are able to stay safe, at least for the moment. He pulls Braum back in. This looks like death. Okay, well, with the healing from the Q, he is able to survive. And all of a sudden, these guys are scared. Does he have ult? He does. It's not quite enough to pick him up. I do manage to pick up the Mundo, but that's it for the time being. Braum is 3-0-6, and that doesn't really matter for a support. He has actually a surprising amount of items. I'm going to fight him in a second. It's not going to go that well. Jarvan executing the dive here onto my teammate. We do have Janna here preventing Cho'Gath's flash from going through, which I think might save her life, and I jest, it does not. I get soloed by the Braum because he does a surprising amount of damage from a support. Remember, I'm only 1 level up on him, and a lot of the time you would like to be 2 levels up on support as a jungler, and that was what I was used to and what I was playing like. In addition, I do have a good amount of armor, but Braum's Q, when it's leveled up to max level, as it is at level 9, does a surprising amount of damage, and I wasn't prepared for it. In addition, with the health on the face of the mountain, I just didn't factor that in and got cocky and died. So, I'm a fool. La-di-da. Sorry, I'm sipping some tea. I'm actually ill, so I don't know why I'm doing this. You may hear it in my voice slightly. I might sniffle occasionally, but I don't know why I'm choosing to do this. But anyway, I'm having fun passing a blue buff over to Cho'Gath, which is fine because Jarvan already has a blue buff of his own after killing Brand in the mid lane just a minute ago. Janna is preventing Jarvan from going in, but we do have a Mundo, or Cho'Gath and a Mundo. Okay, so double TP down here. I do manage to pick up the stun here. I think we're actually able to get out with the John Tornadoes and dodging of the knockups. But yeah, this is a 4-person commitment to bot, and the fact that actually they didn't pick up anything is a major win for us, because they're committing a lot of resources here, and unless they get a payoff, it's just a waste, because we are picking up damage onto the mid lane tower, which Braum really can't answer to. Certainly Brand can't kill Braum, but he can certainly keep it pushed in. Mundo rotating up to try and pick up the Brand, but able to dodge Cleaver and get back to tower. He's relatively safe. You can pick up the stun and do a decent amount of damage. Picking up the bounces, I think is able to pick up the Mundo, yes, so it's a 1-for-1, which is slightly more gold to red team because they have the assist, but I do think when you're behind you want to trade as much as possible. I pick up the Graves. I'm not sure how that happens. I want to take a look at this again. So this is while this is happening mid. Okay, so I see Graves as a very little mana. So I come here and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna jump on him. He dashes out. I have my ult, so with my Thunderlord's Decree, eventually, like, I have a good amount of CDR, and I've been maxing my jump, so it's on a very low cooldown. I just keep following this guy, and I get him eventually. Now I'm going to be killed by Jarvan. I think I do manage to stun him here, but I don't think I can survive. Oh, do I? So I do get out, actually. My team realized what was happening and came up to save me, so they really saved my ass there. I don't think this ward is in range. Well, it might be. I should try that out in practice, but yeah, they really saved my ass on that one, so thank you, team. If anyone thinks your team doesn't allow plays to happen, I would consider the fact that we're that behind, getting the kill and getting it was a bit of a play, but clearly it was impossible without my team, so if you ever feel like you make a play, it's never only you. So I come here. I don't know why I'm doing this. I think I'm just gonna die. So I do die, but I keep him here, so hopefully my team can pick this up. So it's a 1-for-1. I'll call worth on that, even though I'm not so sure I should have been doing it. But you always want to trade when you're behind. I've said in videos before that I think League, because it's a game of increasing resources, you always trade when you're behind because the percentage, gold, and experience difference between you and the opponent's team goes down, as opposed to games like chess, which is a game of losing resources, where if you trade when you're behind, you're increasing your deficit, so you never do it. Like in professional chess, if you take a pawn for free, after that you just trade until you win. Almost in professional league, if you get behind, you trade until you come back. That's why if you're ahead, you just try and play safe in professional league. But anyway, I digress. So we're having a bit of a fight here. I don't know if we're going to get anything off the back of this because Jarvan's here. I do come in and I stun, so that's good. We'll probably pick up the Jarvan. The Blade will probably get him, yep. And I don't think Mundo can get away from me. So I think I will just pick him up eventually, although it will take a while because I'm a tank. I cannot fight this Cho'Gath, I know that. He's got his ult, he's got everything up, and I don't have any magic resist yet. I just have the Frozen Heart and the Cinderhulk. So with this, I actually have 35% CDR because of my Runes and Masteries. I think I'm gonna get some MR that's probably gonna build into a Spectre's Cowl, and then a Sheen, because that now gives cooldown reduction to complete the 45%, which I think is an underrated build on Jax. Just get Triforce for damage, a Frozen Heart for CDR, and then a whole bunch of tank, and you're very hard to kill, and you also do a lot of damage. They are picking up this dragon for free. They see Brands, they know they just killed Darius, they know I was low, and that I went to topside, and even though they see these guys here, they can notice if they start moving up the dragon. So absolutely this is a safe dragon for red team, and they pick it up for free, which is absolutely what you want to do. They're now collapsing onto our bot lane, which also is exactly what you want to be doing. You do see Braum missing the Q there, exhaust stopping him, the knockup preventing Jarvan from really getting in there, but do you see them picking up Lucian? I don't know why I do this. I think I am stronger than I am. We do manage to pick up some good AoE from the Brand, but with the ult fizzling onto this guy, they split up very well, preventing the ult from bouncing. This is probably a death onto Janna. It is. I go in again, foolishly. I see Cho'Gath going in. I think we can pick him up, but I die as well. And I baited that. I baited all two of my other teammates, all three of us rather, into an early grave, and certainly a big mistake. You do have Darius up here beginning to take control of this lane, which is probably, that and my high farm are probably the only things keeping us in the game at the moment. I'm good friends with our mid laner and AD carry, and I think they're both good players, but this game is clearly not going their way. He's getting bodied bot lane and bodied, not necessarily bodied mid lane, but he is certainly losing, even though he does a lot of damage as Brand. 3 and 6 is certainly not where you want to be. Now that Braum's up here, though, I don't see Darius getting out of this. With all the slows I can apply, this looks to be a dead Darius. And that's something. It's something you gotta keep your eyes on as a top laner. When you're pushed up that far, there are no wards on his side, so there's nothing preventing anyone from coming up this way. And Braum, with Mundo slows, can just walk up lane and kill you. And so I think you had to be keeping your eyes down here part of the time, or at least on the minimap to see when they backed, because you saw all 4 of them here, so that you can figure out when they would be aggressing on you. And after you figure that out, play around it and play safe. He didn't, and Mundo was able to pick another kill, which is certainly not what we want to be happening, because a Mundo who's strong late game is certainly a big problem. Now I swoop in here to save Lucian from this Graves. I'm pretty sure I can pick him up. Graves can't actually handle me right now. Even if he flashes and all these things, my jumps are on such a low cooldown that I can just catch him eventually. So we do have a couple things happening right now. We do see a fight here in the mid lane. Darius is likely able to pick up this guy, maybe him as well. I'm just still chasing this Graves. He's not going to get away from me. I just have so much CDR. And your jump becomes like less than a 4-second cooldown. So jump, 2, 3, 4, jump. You know, it's very difficult to get away from. Additionally, you can stun here. Now, initially I was not going to dive this Braum because, like, we can't kill him before the tower kills us, but then he comes into the Tribus and fights us for some reason, so we just kill him. In the mid lane, you do see Darius fighting this Mundo. Now, Mundo knows that his ult is on cooldown, so I'm not sure if Darius can pick this up, but with the pull-up back in, and with the 5 stacks, and with the Black Cleaver, which is excellent on Darius, because now that his bleed is physical damage, you auto-summon once, and it will tick away all the stacks of your Black Cleaver, giving you move speed, and giving you a ton of armor shred, which just is so good for your kit. We do see Jarvan coming up here. I believe his ult is off cooldown, yes, because I can cheat and look on the right. He does manage to separate our Darius, but he is able to survive for a bit longer than expected. Cho'Gath is able to pick him up. Janna picked up 2. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to kill this Cho'Gath here, but I'm not entirely sure. And then Jarvan will kill us both, likely, because he is a threat. He is a significant damage threat, in addition to being tanky and hard to take down. So he's got his Dead Man's Play, and I think he's working towards a Banshee's Veil, unlikely to be a Spirit Visage, because he doesn't have too much lifesteal or healing or anything like that. So Jarvan's a problem. Jarvan's a problem. He can dive our backline, and as a damage threat, can solo out Brand or Lucian, and certainly make life difficult for the both of them at the same time. And he takes a concentrated effort to kill because of his tankiness. So in order to best him in a fight, we really have to, after he dies, to seal the rest of his team off and prevent them from coming to his aid, because certainly them fighting along with him can cause a lot of problems for us as a squad. Really, it would come down to me and Darius after J4 dies. So one of us peel off to deal with him and pull him off the carries and prevent him from ribbing everything. They are picking up the tower here, as we clearly can't mount an opposition at this point in the game. We're down by 4k, down 13 kills. Or me. Me or Darius are the ones who have to either peel him off the carries, and the other one zone off the rest of the team. Probably the one who zones the team will die. But going for a 1v1 is an appropriate thing to do here, because of the way in which a gold lead becomes, percentage-wise, less large or smaller, less large, as trades happen. So that's what we're going for. We're trying not to necessarily win team fights, although doing that would be nice, but to try and prevent their team fights from going in their favor and get back into this. 'Cause I do think we scale better. Jax and Darius become monsters late in the game, and so does Lucian, although certainly they're not so much as like him themselves. We do have, fortunately, the Lucian to shred through the high health Mundo and all that stuff, but I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm being very aggressive on the sides. They're not going to be killed by me. I don't know what I'm doing. I entirely bait my Lucian to his death. It'll take a long time to kill me, but not a long time to kill people like Janna or people like Darius. Even though we throw in the Brand ultimate, we do not have nearly enough damage to kill these guys. So they're all running around low health. Mundo ults to get back up. Brand dies to the back damage of Graves' Q. I managed to jump out because I can do that with my CDR, but this was just a catastrophe that I instigated. What is happening here? He's probably dead. Okay, well that's good. And then I don't know what I'm doing. I think I just saw Braum standing here, and I was like, oh, I can pick him up. But like the whole team's there. I don't know what I was doing. Certainly very foolish. And every time I do that, I set our team back because really, like gold-wise, I think I am the biggest on the team, followed by Darius. So we have to pick fights that are conducive to our front line in order for us to really shine. Because right now they're the ones who are the rocks, if you will. And so whenever I do that, and yeah, you can see Braum was DC'd, but he reconnects and flashes over and manages to survive. Can't be picked up by Lucian yet. He's not strong enough, unfortunately. This actually baits Lucian to his death. Or no, he flashes out, so he actually survives this, which is nice, but it's certainly not what we want to do. We'd prefer to have that flash on Lucian so that later in the game he can be safer. Now I'm gonna sip some tea because I am, once again, I will say that I'm ill, but I'm enjoying myself, and I felt like doing this right now, so I'm going to take care of it. I'm just going to pause the game real quick and go over where things lie. So in the top lane, we have 10 CS lead for Darius. At this point in the game, it's relatively even there. I will say, like, farm isn't super high across the positions. Maybe you would consider my farm high at this point in the game for a jungler, but I've been really prioritizing that over teamfight presence. Although, to be fair, I've been part of the majority of our team's kills, and I have disproportionately high CS for jungler at this point in the game, which is good, but I really hate shooting my own horn on that. I will say top lane, they're relatively even. Let me check gold real quick. Yeah, so our top lane is actually ahead. Now, considering that they're one tower up on us, this is pretty impressive. Jarvan is up on me, even though I have 50 more farm than him. He's 11, 311. He's been part of 22 kills. He is a ridiculous amount of income. Cho'Gath too, very wealthy. He's a lot of farm over our brand. He's 958. He's similarly to Jarvan, been a part of a lot of kills. Graves here, most CS in the game, although 188 at 28 minutes isn't particularly high. This was a very messy, not messy, it was like, well, yeah, but it was a very bloody game, so people have been running around the map a lot and killing each other and taking dragons. 3 dragons have been taken by red team, which is their most important dragon, I do think, in addition to a good amount of turrets going down, so they have a good chunk of gold there. And I think the best way to determine how the teams have been doing is by the difference of support gold, and we do see the Braum here with over 1,000 gold more than Arjana. Now, this is not because he's been farming more, because, like, he has, technically, because he's got the face of the mountain, and he's Braum, and he has minions and shares them, but because of his, first off, tower lead of their team, but his kill participation. 5, 2, and 16 is like a rather good score for support, and he has a sizable amount of income. He's not a CDR building CC bot who can die fairly easily. He's a proper tank. He's got Face of the Mountain, he's got Randuin's Omen, and Sightstone too, so he's not easy to kill, certainly, and can add to that front line of their team. I do think, though, their team behind their front line doesn't have all that much. If we can get to Graves and take him out, or survive Cho'Gath's and Jarvan's burst, but over time we can wear them down. Darius here healing up, me going in for the stun, killing up that Braum. He is picked up by the Darius ultimate. We do have them going on to Brand here, managing to force back Graves and kill him, but also force back the Cho'Gath at low health. Jarvan coming in here is managing to pick up the J4, with the bounce going on to Cho'Gath, but not quite going on to Jarvan or anyone else. We do not see the Brand ultimate picking up their team, picking up some damage onto the Jarvan. I don't know if he gets Jarvan, or Janna, he does, but he goes down. I managed on the side to pick up this Cho'Gath, so this was a very, very messy team fight, but we wound up in the lead. I want to go back and take a look at this team fight and try and figure out why this happened. So it was certainly very, very confusing. So in the beginning here, we do see Darius ranging upwards. He can do this because, even though, look, that was a good amount of damage, it was his Ludens and a good amount of Cho'Gath's burst, and he can heal it up fairly easily with his Q, so he takes a lot of that back. They are going to see the Braum's only going to hit Janna. We do have Darius coming in, healing up a lot, and then me coming in and stunning this Braum. We are able to burst him down fairly quickly. We do see the Mundo going on to Going on to Brand, we do see him and Janna able to flash out. Now, just Cho'Gath being here at this health with the spooky ghost on him isn't going to be able to get to these guys fairly soon. It's going to take these guys time to get around and get onto these guys and kill them. You'll see that because they're only able to pick them up over here. They're able to run all this way, and we do even manage to pick up Jarvan over here. Brand lives. In that time, you do see Cho'Gath back off and then come back in to try and land CC, but mostly miss. Me and Darius are both here killing Graves. This is actually a mismanagement of resources because I can kill this all. Darius should really be coming down here to keep these guys off. But they're able to distract them long enough so that me and Darius can come back on the backside. Jarvan is picked up by Janna and Brand under the turret, meaning this low health Cho'Gath is sort of wandering here with no place to go. And with Darius here and me coming down here, he really can't escape. He winds up being picked up by me about here. Mundo full health with very speed, he's able to get out, knowing then that after Braum and me and Darius are all up after the fight, and none of his teammates are, that he certainly cannot 1v3, so he backs off. So let's take a look at that here. We have Jarvan coming down, that Banshee's Veil preventing her from being stunned, the Brand's Q missing, picking up Brand. Oh, sorry, I'm in John Lucian, not John Brand. Anyway, Jarvan coming up here is picked up. He's fighting the Mundo, preventing him from coming, helping him. I jump over because I have a lot of CDR after picking up the Graves here, and I just jump a ward, kill him, and then he's able to chase Mundo off. So that is how that team fight went. It was very messy, and I don't think ideally played by either team, but it does wind up going in our favor, which is huge for us, because now the gold lead is only 3k for red side. Darius has got his Cleaver and Dead Man's Play and a Kindle Gem now. He does do not a lot of damage, but at least a respectable amount, in addition to being difficult to kill. I've picked up 2 tank items and Sheen, just with tier 1 boots, because you don't need that much on Jax, because he is tied for Pantheon with the highest base move speed in the game. In addition, I run move speed Quince, so you only need tier 1 boots on Jax at this point in the game to really be effective. As you see, I was still able to chase everyone down that I wanted to, just because of his passive move speed Quince, and the CDR of my leap, able to keep them in range, even if they do manage to outrun me. So I'm not too worried about that. I do think I like to pick up, when I upgrade my boots, Alacrity and Chance fairly early, just to be as fast as possible, because I've got damage, I've got tankiness, and then once I get Alacrity, I will have substantial mobility too, getting the trifecta of disruption stats, which is the way I like to play. Now, Cho'Gath is baby Cho'Gath right now. He needs to get his stacks back up in order to really be a presence in these fights. You see the amount of damages he can do with full AP, but he's going for a very tanky, AP-heavy build, but certainly bursty as well. He's likely going to get a Luden's Echo at some point, and really burst people down. I'm going to drink some tea real quick. I'm ill, unfortunately. Graves, we have likely getting the rapid fire cannon, potentially the Shiv, just for more crit, more AoE, which is good because he's got the Essence Reaver, IE, and then the Shiv now, so he's able to throw his abilities on a fairly, not a low cooldown, but a usable cooldown, get through his spell rotation fairly quickly, and able to sustain up the mana with his crits. We do have Lucian doing the same thing as well. I don't think it's having as good of an effect as it is on Graves, though, because Graves is at the point in the game where his abilities do substantial damage. I'll get to that in a second. We do have Johnny here. Will she escape? I think she will. These guys are able to run away over here, me and Brand coming up, and I do think red team just backs off. Anyway, because, so we do have J4 going in, beautiful tornado knocking him up. This here, Mundo on the side, preventing us, just like shepherding us to our tower. We're sticking to it because we know we can fight it, but we also see how low Janna is, and we know that we really can't fight. Also because we know her ult is down, and so is Lucian's, as opposed to just the J4 and Braum ult. Mundo still got his sadism. Graves certainly has collateral damage, and Mundo has his feast, his burst tool. So I don't think we want to fight right now, although I'm an idiot, so I might just go in and throw the game for us, because that's kind of my thing. But yeah, I think mana sustain and CDR on damage abilities only helps you insofar as those abilities are impactful. And I think at this point in the game, Lucian's abilities are not nearly as impactful as Graves. So the CDR and this mana sustain on Graves' Essence Reaver is doing much more work than it is on Lucian's, just because of the disparity in power right now. Does Essence Reaver still give lifesteal? Nope, it doesn't. Okay, that's a shame. So he is having to pick that up to survive. I do think against their team, lifesteal is rather good because of the team fights are likely to last a good deal of time with how tanky they are, and how they do have some burst damage, but not nearly enough as, you know, other comps. Like, this certainly isn't an Akali or a Katarina or any kind of assassin there. They're not really bursting someone down. I do come in here and I get a stun off. Brand's actually, or not Brand, Braum, bleh, these Brr names are wrecking me, are fairly low. I'm able to get a stun off, get some damage on. Okay, so there's some good damage on Braum on the outside. He's managed to getting out. Darius is getting low. Everyone's getting low. Who's dying? Ghana ult is beautiful. I think we are able to pick up Darius here. And, sorry, Mundo here. Jesus, that fight was hectic. Lucian goes way forward and does manage to pick up the Graves with a good couple of crits there. We really lucked out. But it wasn't really luck because the Zeke's Herald helped as well. And now all of a sudden we're on the offensive. This game, all of a sudden I will pause. It's a 2k gold lead. Now, I really wish I wasn't A, ill, or B, had a play-by-play caster with me, because that fight certainly could have seen a lot of a breakdown. But as a result, we do pick up 2 kills off the back of it. And now, these fellas are very, very low. This is a free tower for us, and I think we just go for Baron. Going for the inhib, likely not something we can get because of everyone just gets home guards these days for free. So, me and Darius are tanky. I don't know why I counter-strike. I think I just counter-strike for the Sheen. Do we keep going? No, we just get Dragon. Okay, this well, maybe not. I think Baron would have been ambitious with 13 and 4. Jarvan still up, home guarding over at 1 billion miles an hour. So we do pick up this Dragon, not because it's necessarily our win condition, just because we want to deny the 5th Dragon from Red Team, because they're at 3, so it certainly is a threat for them. If they take the next 2 dragons, though, that will take 18 minutes, 6 minutes for our respawn, and then 12 more for the next 2. So we're certainly delaying that until far later in the game, where we think we will be stronger. Me picking up my Triforce, Darius picking up his Spirit Visage, and Brand's starting to get a lot of the damage. Because Brand's 3 and 10, that isn't a great score, but Brand as a champion just has so much damage in his kit, especially against a tanky team, that with this Leandries, he can really, and the Deathfire, he can really bring the pain. Janna is beautiful against their team comp. She's got the Ardent Sensor, which is great for me and Lucian, and Darius to some extent. She's got the Zeke's Herald for Lucian to give him that crit, which becomes CDR because of Essence Reaver, and which becomes mobility because of his E, which is what you want against a tanky team. I think we've got a fairly good response here. However, their front line is just so healthy for so long that if they can prevent us from getting onto Graves, he will probably clean up the whole fight. And if we stack on top of their AoE, we will likely die as well, because Cho'Gath Jarvan is a substantial amount of damage. So me and Darius are being a little ambitious here, just getting some damage onto him. I burn my ult and I Q out, but we're able to get up with not too much damage being dealt to anyone. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm making Mundo giddy. Or not giddy, but edgy. On edge. Jesus Christ, I can't even words right now. So let's pause here. Let's take a look. So we're grouping up. We think a team fight's going to happen here. Certainly both teams want one, because if a definitive team fight takes place, Baron can be picked up and probably an inhib too. Or if not Baron, definitely run to a lane and pick up an inhib. We've got this wave pushing here. R is pushing here, but this isn't really something we can get to as a team, but certainly mid is. So if we win this team fight definitively, we can take Baron and take inhib, whereas if they win definitively, they can take this here, because it's already low in addition to this big wave here, and take the inhib. And could probably take Baron 3 off the back of that, although if they do that first, that might be a tad bit risky. See Jarvan ranging forward, he certainly wants to initiate for his team. Off the back of Jarvan's Cataclysm, you can see a lot of the AoE coming out of Braum and Cho'Gath to hold them still, and then Graves after that. Mundo, just to be frontline disruption and to really make things tough for our team. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit to try and see how this team fight goes. Perhaps I won't for a bit. So poking around. Mundo's Stone Cleavers. Jarvan, I think, is going to jump in fairly soon once his team moves up, just because that's how he's been playing. All right. So let's pause it here. Let's take a look. So we have Jarvan here. He ults onto Janna. She ults him back into the tower, which is great because it gets some tower damage, but mostly she continues to channel her ult, meaning that any damage Mundo and J4 put onto our carries is going to be healed up. In addition, it means that Darius can exist in this fight for a good deal of time. I'm channeling my stun, and I'm going to jump onto these guys. These are their damage threats. These are the guys who are the ones to kill our backline. J4 probably can't with all of the healing and shielding of Janna here. So I'm jumping here to try and prevent these guys from joining the team. Braum is way back here, so he can't supply his CC or slows to this team fight or to me. Brand is over here as well, though, so he can't supply his AoE damage. So we're going to see how this team fight plays out. So I go over here, I stun these guys, I prevent them going up. This is probably going to mean my death, but honestly I'm fine with that, because I trust these guys to kill Mundo and J4. So I die, this is fine. We have Brand coming here, and he's going to disrupt a lot of this fight. J4 is killed up here by Lucian. With this damage out of Braum being assessed by Red Team as a threat, you can certainly see why they're backing off. This Brand ult does go to Braum, to Cho'Gath, slightly after Braum raises the shield, meaning it can bounce around in the backline and can pick up a ton of damage. Braum can probably kill Brand here. However, a good... Oh, that wasn't quite a stun. Oh, but he does flash out, so he's likely going to live this, and then these guys are going to pick him up. So all of a sudden, that was a 4-for-1 for blue team, for us. I zone off their damage. Wow, they over here pick up the J4. When Mundo comes back to his team, it's too late. Our damage is arriving. And we're able to pick up these guys because, one, they're low, but two, they're forced to use their CC, Braum and Cho'Gath this way to prevent Brand from entering the fight, meaning that the lockdown of Darius Janna can pick this up. And now we pick up Baron immediately. It would have been better if I was up, because I would be able to run my smite to this, but we see Mundo here. We know that their jungler is down as well. As long as we stand between him and cleavering it or anything crazy, we'll be fine. Janna can zone him off, Brand can zone him off. We pick this up relatively for free, and then we just back. I do manage to pick up that Baron buff. I spawn in just before that, which is lovely. I pick up the Merchres, which I think is the best boost against their team, and all of a sudden, we are in the driver's seat of this game. We're down 10 kills, we're up 2k gold, we have Baron, and we have presence on the map. This is what I was saying earlier in the game. We as a team have played together a lot. We have a good team fight presence with each other, and we're able to communicate well during team fights, which is something a lot of people struggle with. I don't want to toot my own horn, because I really do feel like our team fighting is the only reason we're still in this game, because we laned poorly. Now, let's take a look at the items in gold. Mundo is tanky, certainly, but he is an avoidable threat. I don't think he kills Lucian fast enough, especially with his lifesteal and with Janna's shields and AD increases. I do think that he can just be ground down by our backline. I don't think he threatens our backline. Braum has his Rylai's, he can kite him fairly easily. And I do think we have threats upon their backline, upon Graves and upon Cho'Gath. Even though he's tanky, I still consider him backline because he isn't getting into the team fight in the same way a tank Cho'Gath would. He's playing back around his cooldowns and is dipping into the fight, throwing out his cooldowns, and then dipping back out, as opposed to a full tank Cho'Gath, which would run into the front line and attempt to disrupt the fight, in the same way Moon is attempting to do, but it's being unable. J4 is still the biggest threat on the team, 13, 5, and 12, but he has stopped buying damage, and I think is a lot less worrying than he was earlier in the game. Graves is the big threat, though. He's got a lot of damage. He's 6, 7, and 7, which isn't the most amazing score in existence, but he can certainly do a lot of damage. Now, I jump up here, I just stun Braum, I'm just being annoying, I've got my Banshees, I know I can jump out if anything bad happens. That's what I think we're just trying to do now that we have Baron, is just to be annoying on the front line and hope that we can rattle them or tilt them off. We do see the Lucian coming up here doing a lot of damage, Darius pulling him in, me stunning them. Able, I think, to pick up this Mundo. I don't see any way he would survive this. I pick it up while it dunks midair, because I'm a scumbag. We just make sure nothing creeping on the sides, and I do think we can pick this up. So, if they get too ahead of themselves, I am comfortable diving his tower and stunning someone. And we do have the follow-up to take them out, because we only burned, damage-wise, the Lucian ult. See, I'm ranging ahead of the team, just to try and zone them off. I jump here after my stun's off, because I'm a noob. But this does make them play back, so we're able to pick up this inhib. Like, I'm up here knowing that they're not going to fight me, because like fighting me means they're bogged down. I have a lot of stuns on a very low cooldown, meaning my team has time to catch up and pick someone off. They know that that's a threat, and they're playing around it, which is what you want to do. But because this is happening, we're able to pick this up without them being able to come forward and challenge us for it. Now, perfect timing here. We're able to come up here and pick up this tower because our side lane's been pushing. After we take this, though, we know we cannot take this inhib here, because Mundo will be up by then, and so I think we just plan, after taking this tower, to back, to get this side lane pushing, and then to try and end this game. So I come over here, I stun the Braum, nothing much happening. We do see another Lucian all going into the Braum shield. This is very annoying by Braum. I come up here, I make him very low, I force him back out, I come up here, I flash, I stun this Jarvan. Fighting this fight here, oh my god, okay, so, alright, so I'm gonna have to do this half speed, because, Jesus Christ, I am not a play-by-play caster. I'm color. So, the Lucian all going into the Braum is very annoying, it prevents a lot of Lucian's potential damage output. The Cho'Gath Q misses, I'm able to chunk out Braum, so he is forced back. Now, I see Jarvan going onto the backline, I flash into the pit here and stun Jarvan, preventing him, Jesus Christ, my throat, from doing any damage. The exhaust here on the Graves prevented him from really killing anyone. Darius is able to go for the dunk before he flashes out, and the Brand ult picks up the Braum, which had previously been choked on me. I come over here, I force the Graves back, allowing my team to pick this up without threat of Graves chucking his high cooldown, or not high cooldown, but high damage abilities into the fight. The dunk is able to pick up him. Janna ult does allow him to go back, but with me and Lucian here, Lundo's not able to get out, we stun him, triple kill for Darius, dunks all around, and I think we're able to end the game off of this. I don't see how Red Team wins, unless he goes into tower and dies. Alright, well, that happens. Okay. But with 45 seconds on their damage, on Cho'Gath and Mundo, and with 30 seconds on J4 and Braum, this is GG. I don't believe they're able to stop us. With Triforce procs, Brand, and Lucian all being up, and John, of course, to give more AD, we pick up the Graves, it doesn't really matter, the game is already won, and with that, we have ourselves a victory. So, thank you for watching. I apologize if at all I sniffled or my throat got dry. I am sick, so I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm enjoying it and I'm having a lot of fun. And I hope this was, I don't know if educational is the right word, because I don't think I said at any point, hey, this is important to learn this, but I hope it was entertaining and at least allows you to think a bit more about where things are. I don't know. Okay, I'm not very professional. Have a good day.